we grew up just a very kind of like poor lifestyle, right? And it led her down a path that caused her to lose her entire inheritance within about 3 or 4 years. Hey family, I'm so excited that you clicked on this video because this is my chance to share my story of why I became a financial advisor with you. Before we hop into the video, take a moment to subscribe to my channel, like, comment, share this with somebody that you think could be inspired by my story. I think that it's really important that we listen to other people's stories because stories are what shape who we are. If it wasn't for the tragedy that my family went through and me having learned from that, I would have never became a financial advisor and I wouldn't have been able to help the thousands of lives that I've been able to help. Usually I give the long story short of how I became a financial advisor, but I wanted to take some time out on this video to do the long story long so that you guys could hear the true, genuine story of how I became a financial advisor and how it wasn't a story as I describe it that was very simple from A to Z. It was like A to W, back to G, and then to Z to where I am today, having been a financial advisor for almost 8 years now. My story starts back in Northern California where I was born and raised. So I grew up on a 1,000-acre ranch outside of Sacramento. Now you may be asking, okay, that's interesting. A 1,000-acre ranch, Northern California. All right, help us piece it together. So my family actually had a plot of land that had been passed down for generation to generation. If you're on the West Coast, then you're very familiar with the California Gold Rush. So my family was a part of that. They came to California during the Gold Rush and they were given property and they had built off of that, right? And so that property had been passed down. And as I was growing up, it was in the possession of my grandfather and his sister. And so I grew up on the property raising horses. We had any kind of animal you could name. Like we had sheep, chickens, and it's kind of crazy for me to say this because I live in a high-rise condo in Atlanta, Georgia now. But yeah, so I grew up a very, very country lifestyle. And it was cool, right? We had a good time, but we were very, very poor. So when you own land, you're land rich, right? Have you ever heard of being house poor? When you're house poor, it means that most of your money goes into your home. So similar to that, most of our net worth, pretty much all of our net worth was tied up in the land. So fast forward and my great aunt, my grandfather's sister, decides that she wants to sell the property because she didn't live on the property. So in the middle of selling the property, my grandfather passed, and so the property was sold. That all led to my mother and her sister receiving their inheritance. So my mother received an inheritance of about $1.4 million over a number of years, and it was just less than a handful of years, right? It was about 3 or 4 years. She receives a $1.4 million inheritance. Now, we went from having practically nothing. My mother was a single mom, 3 kids. We grew up just a very kind of like poor lifestyle, right? And so my mother gets this money and she decides that she's going to be very intentional with it. She wanted to do what was best for her children, for her family, but she was also heartbroken by the fact that we had lost the land in a sense because it wasn't up to her to sell it. She wouldn't have sold it. And so when we lost the land, that left her heartbroken and she didn't want to live in California anymore. So she decided that we should up and move to Georgia. And at the time I was a teenager and I was like, okay, cool. I'm down for an adventure. And so we pick up and we move to right outside of Atlanta, Georgia. And she takes this $1.4 million and in the middle of this whole entire situation of everything being passed down to her, she sees a financial advisor. And that's the smart thing to do, right? You come into another, sudden windfall. You want to talk to a financial advisor. You want to get some financial advice and guidance. And so she did that. So she went and spoke with a financial advisor. This financial advisor, he just didn't give her comprehensive financial advice. And it led her down a path that caused her to lose her entire inheritance within about 3 or 4 years. And so I had a problem with that. I didn't understand why we went from having nothing. You know, I have stories where, a kid, he came up to me during class and he said, why do you wear the same pair of shoes with every outfit? He was like, you wear them to work out. He was like, you wear them on recess. You wear them to class. You wear them with your skirt. You wear them with your jeans. Like, why do you only wear one pair of shoes? And me breaking down crying because I only had one pair of shoes. So we went from that to me having my first designer bag and shoes, and I was so excited. And then we went back to a situation where I should have only had one pair of shoes again. And so I had to ask my mother, like, why did this happen? I don't understand. And she spouted something about economy, something about a mutual fund. And for me, I was like, that answer is not good enough. I need to know what exactly happened, because there's no reason why we should have went from where we were to getting to this new point to back to this low point. Because I personally don't believe that, and I didn't know at that time, but I didn't believe that your income needed to fluctuate like this. I didn't feel like people were supposed to be living paycheck to paycheck. And so I was like, you know what? She can't tell me, but I know somebody can. There's got to be somebody who knows the answer to what happens with a mutual fund, what's going on in the economy. On top of that, I never had health insurance or dental insurance growing up. So I was like, somebody has to know about these things. So with the help of Google, I came across the Certified Financial Planner Designation. And I said, that's what I'm going to do. So the Certified Financial Planner Designation, through my research, I learned that that's an individual who knows about retirement planning, who knows how to figure out how much you need to save to stop working one day. That's somebody who understands insurance. They understand car insurance. They understand health insurance. They understand dental insurance. There's somebody who knows what needs to be done in an estate planning situation when somebody passes, and they can help you understand capital gains tax. Because my mother, she ended up with a $100,000 tax bill that she didn't know that she was going to have, and that her financial advisor never told her about. And becoming a certified financial planner has helped me to do all of that. I've helped countless families be able to turn around their financial situations or understand what to do with their money in a sudden wealth windfall kind of a situation. And all of that brings me true joy. And so I wanted to share my story of how I became a financial advisor, because I think that understanding my reasoning for becoming a financial advisor also helps you to understand the kinds of services that I offer as a financial advisor, so you can figure out what kind of advisor you should be working with and who would work best for your situation. So because of my experiences, I don't believe that any part of our personal financial life works autonomous to the other pieces. I believe that your entire financial picture works together. I think that your taxes work with your cash flow, that works with your retirement planning. I just think that it's all fully intertwined with each other. And so when I do financial planning for people, I make sure that I have the conversations of, what does your cash flow look like? Is it tight? Are you comfortable? Is there ways that we can reduce debt to make your cash flow more comfortable? What are ways that we can increase your business income? How can we use credit to your advantage? Do you have adequate auto insurance? Do you have adequate health insurance? Do you have adequate life insurance? I'm able to answer all of those questions and work through those needs with my clients. And I feel like it is my obligation to do so because of the experiences that I've been through. You know, again, I really think that our experiences shape who we are. And, you know, what we do for our family and how we treat our loved ones and how we even treat strangers is going to mold and shape their lives and their days. And so I just think that it's really, really important to give back to people. And so I want to be able to share the knowledge that I have. So thank you guys so much for clicking on this video. Again, subscribe to my channel, send this to somebody who you think could use this story, could use this inspiration. I think that the financial planning field needs more people who look like me. And we need more people who genuinely want to see others do well. Thank you guys so much for tuning in.